Hello, welcome back, and it's another instalment on this Paolo Soprani. So on the last video I sorted out the problems with the palettes, so that's gone really nicely, so I'm happy with that. Now the next thing I want to do before I get into the reed work, which is going to be quite a big job because they all need coming out and doing. That's quite big, but that's okay. But the next thing I want to do is just have a look at this bodywork, because I just want to get it looking nice. So if I just see if I can zoom in a bit on this first thing I'm going to tackle. So let's see if it works. There we go. So here is a repaired crack. Now if I look on the inside, it seems to have been repaired quite well. It's all looking quite sturdy. There's no massive crack or damage. It's all quite sturdy. There's no movement or anything. So it has been fixed strong. Fixed strong? Fixed strongly. A strongly fix. Anyway, so this ain't going anywhere, which is good, but it just looks ugly. It's not flat, and it's got this horrible line down there. So I need to think about how to make this look a lot nicer. Now, one of the difficulties is if I try and colour match that, it's never going to be exactly the same, so you're always going to get a line down there. So I've got to think, do I either do the best I can, so sand it a bit and then try and colour match that, or another idea I've had is if I make it into a bit of a feature and have a kind of what's like a pinstripe down here, and I do the same thing on this side and make it a symmetrical pinstripe on both sides of maybe a slightly darker red. That's another thing I might do. So I'm not really sure yet, but what I want to do is make sure it looks nice at the end of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, just to make sure that there's no gaps or anything in here, I'm just going to run some super glue into that line, because it's not quite, there's a few little gaps there, so I'm just going to run some super glue into that line, and that will get, because super glue is quite thin, it will soak or drip into all of the cracks and crevices, and also it will make sure that I've got I can sand it to a completely flush surface. So just get some super glue from my super glue department. Oh, here it is. So before I put the super glue on, I'm just going to protect around the crack, because I don't want the super glue going everywhere and ruining the rest of the finish. So I'm just trying to try and protect that as much as I can. So I'm just going to put some tape on this so that I can just then quite carefully fill that crack in. Oopsie, scissors. Here we go. I don't want to make more mess on the finish, because that's not going to be a good idea. So what I'm doing, I'm just isolating that crack so that I can just run some super glue into it. Maybe there. And so once I put the super glue in, I'll leave that for an hour or so, just let it harden up, and then I'll do a little sand. Right, so let's get the super glue ready, and I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. So I'm going to tip it so that crack is vertical. Should go straight in. There we go. Just going to run. To there. Okay, that should do it. So now I need to just want to prop that up a little. Just to get a different. Okay, I think I'll leave it like that. So I'm going to come back in about an hour or so, have a look at that, and just then have a go at sanding it back a little until I get a nice flat finish, and then I can think about how I'm going to match in the colour, whether I do my little plan of having a little pinstripe or I do something else. I'm not sure yet. Okay, see you in a sec. Okay, so come back to this. So I'm just going to take the tape off and let's have a look. So I've left it a few hours now just so that the super glue has got a good chance to harden off. I've just got to get all the tape off. Okay, so next step is just to get some sandpaper on there and gently sand. I'm going to start with a 400 grit. I'm just going to see what this can end up with. Just aiming for the just where the crack is. Just trying to get that as level, as smooth as I can. So I'm going to carry on with this for a little bit, and I'll show you when I've just finished sanding that crack back to flush. Okay, so now I'm going to get a wet wipe. Just going to clean off any dust. So this will look worse before it looks better, but I needed to get that crack filled so it was as smooth as possible. And just clean up any dust. Now it's already looking better. It's already looking better. So what I'm going to do now, just cleaning off any bits of excess, whatever's on there. Okay, just give that a dry. Let's get a little cloth, jumper. Okay, so I think the next job is to try and do a little bit of colour matching. Now, I'll show you what I've got here, so I'll just zoom out again. Let's see what you've got here. So what have I got here? What have I got here? Right, so I've got some red touch-up paint, Ford Colorado red. I've got that. I've also got a fair selection of red nail varnish and a purple-ish nail varnish, and this is all really useful stuff. Now I have done a little bit of testing already, and I think that this Ford Colorado red is the closest I got. And the other thing I've noticed is because it's kind of this celluloid pattern, it's got black and red and dark bits as a part of the celluloid pattern. So what I might try and do first of all is get some of this red on and have a little look, see what it looks like, because if it doesn't look good, it's obviously fine. I can just sand it off again and try something else. But let's just try this to start with. So I've got this little touch-up brush. So what I'm going to do, just a little bit of this Ford Colorado red. I'm just going to do a little bit, and just to see how it looks. Okay, it's not looking too bad actually. So what I'll do, I'm just going to finish it off. Just oh here, hello, come here. Just the bits. Oh gosh, it's dripping. Just the bits I can see. Trying to get it smooth as I can. So I'm going to let that dry. And then have another look. So I'll show you what it looks like when that's dried. And I'm going to, hey, I've just thought of something which I think is going to work. What I'm going to do is, I've put the paint on, and to get it to blend in, I've got this wet wipe that I've just been using to clean it. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to very carefully just spread it out. So it's kind of like blending it in a little. See if this works. Ooh. Oh, hello. Not looking too bad actually. Right, I'll show you that in about 20 minutes when it's had a little time to dry. Right, so it's that little bit of paint has had a chance to dry off, and so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to, with 400 grits, just lightly sand it back a little and see if I can get that nice and smooth, and then have another little look. Hello? Okay. I'm just going to clean that off. So it's looking nice. I'm quite pleased actually. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to I think I'm just going to put another, I can still see there's a little bit of a groove there, still a bit of a channel where the crack was, so I'm just going to actually put another coat of paint in there and then leave that and then sand that back, so hopefully it will all be nice and flush. But I think actually going to think it's going to look pretty good. So let me just zoom back. Yeah, I'm going to just put another little coat of my red, so give it a little shake, and then once I've got it finally flushed, I've got rid of the kind of channel. I'll polish it and then hopefully it's going to look nice. So just going to fill that up with another little coating of red. This will be the last little coat. There we go. So I'm going to leave that overnight, and then tomorrow, yeah, I'm going to just sand it back one more time and then just give everything a really nice little polish. Okay, so see. Right, I'm really pleased. It's one of the most satisfying things I've done for a while on an accordion, because it's just nice to, I'm going to bring it up a bit, nice to be able to make a difference to how it actually looks. So if I, there we are. So you can see this line here, although you can just see the colour difference, it's really smooth and I can really polish that up. I've got some finer and finer sandpaper and give it a really good polish. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put some darker red and try to match the kind of mottled or pearl effect, mother of pearl effect or whatever it's called, on here. So I'm going to mix up some red with that red that I used, but add a little bit of black, just make it a little bit darker, and I'll just apply that and trying to match the pattern of the black lines which you'll find, or the darker red if you like. Anyway, so let me mix up some darker and I'll show you how I'm going to apply. Okay, so I've got my red, which is the Ford Galaxy red, where it was, and I've got my black enamel. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mix a little bit of the black into that red. I think I mixed a bit too much black there, so let's just add a little bit more red. Let's just put that there for a minute. Let's have a bit more red in there. I think that's a bit over the top of the black. I think you've only got to use a little bit of black. So that's so let's just mix some of this up. Make sure I don't knock over the paint. Oh, that's looking quite nice. It's quite muddy. I think it's a little bit more. A couple of little drops. And hopefully we can just get a nice darker red. I think I was way over the top with my black there. Never mind. With a couple of drops of red. Okay. what I might do, I'll keep going with this until I've got a nice red mixed and I'll show you. Okay, so I think I've got quite a nice dark red, so I'm just going to apply a little bit and just give it a little test. Just little kind of stripes, just to mimic the other patterns. There we go, and I think that's looking quite nice, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more red and just put a bit more, make it a bit redder. So I'll just do that, I'll show you that. Okay, right, so I've got another little bit more red, a bit redder, so I'm just going to mix that in and match it up. And because it's quite a random pattern, you can kind of get away with making random patterns on the colour, because that's what it all is. So I think it's just looking quite nice. I'm just going to finish off with a bit more. There. There we go. I'll just show you what that looks like. So it's getting really close now, so I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to sand it with a finer sandpaper, and then give it a polish, and I'll show you when I'm ready to start sanding it. I'll leave it for an hour or two now. Okay. Okay, I do appreciate this is not the most exciting video I've ever made, but it's one I really quite like making, because it's looking nice, and it was such a horrible looking crack that I'm just really pleased that it's looking a lot better. Now what I've got here is graded paper from, I'm going to start at 1800 and go to 12,000, so I'm going to give it a final polish really. So first of all with these graded papers, and then I got some polish that I'm just going to give it a final polish. So I'm just going to go through these grades, and then I'm going to get this little polish out, micro abrasive plastic liquid polish. So first of all, I'm just going to just very lightly now give it this final polish. So just going to go round all of these. So that's 1800. I'm just going to go down, get finer and finer and finer before I give it its final polish, and then see what it looks like. There we go. I'm just going to write that down. Okay, time for the final polish. So here goes. Get some of this. I haven't got a lot left, so let's see. Got a nice soft fleece. I have to dig in a bit with this. Here we go. I'm going to have to get some. I haven't got much left, so I'm just going to go right in. There we go. Just give this polish hit the shirt. So this will, and then it's just a question. Elbow grease. Right, so I'm going to give this some elbow grease, and then I'll show you when it's all been polished up. Alright, give me a sec. Okay, here we go. That's it. This is my final effort. And I'm really pleased. I think it's a nice fix. Unless you look really closely, you can't see where that crack was. There we are, nicely polished up. So, happy with that. That's nice. So the last little bit is, if I look on the keyboard here, keyboard end here and here, the colour has worn away a little. So I'm just going to mix a bit of the red and I'm going to just apply that to the corners there. And so what I'm going to do, rather than paint it on, I'm going to mix it up and then just use a soft cloth just to apply it on gently with a soft cloth and see if that works, because I don't want to get paint marks. I just want to just blend it in a bit. So I'm going to mix up some more paint and blend it in. So I'm just mix the paint. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just going to roughen it up just a touch, just to give it a key for the paint. So this is 400 grit, so just going to, just a little bit of a rough up. We're going to rough you up. Just a little bit of a rough up. And then I'm going to get my soft fleece. Back in with my little way of applying the paint. And just put a little bit of this, which I've mixed up. It's quite a good match. Hey, look at that. I'm just going to work that in. Just blend it in. Oh, I'm pleased with that. By using the soft fleece, just avoiding the paint brush marks. There we are. Hey! Gosh, I'm pleased with that. So I'm going to do a bit more paint, and I'll do the other side, then I'll show you when I've done both of them. Alright, I'm really pleased with that. So that's those corners. There we are, just touched up. So I'm going to leave that outside in the sun for a little bit, and I'm going to give them a fine little polish, and I'll show you when it's all finally polished up. So thanks for keeping along with this, but I've quite enjoyed this because it's getting this accordion just to look really nice. Okay, so I'll show you the final results in about... Alright, so I think I'm going to draw this one to a close now. So the corners are now looking like that. So that's looking a lot better. So I'm really pleased with that. That's come out fine. And then obviously the crack. It's really hard to see where it is now, but that's where the crack was. and that's come out fine. So really that was just a little bit of tidying up to make this lovely Paolo Soprani look as good as it will. So if I put the grill back on, maybe just to see what it all might look a bit like, even though I haven't done the grill cloth. So as I get it back together, it's going to look a lot better. And now I've tidied up the bodywork where it needed to be tidied up, now I can concentrate on the main work next, which is the reeds really. So I'm going to start to strip the reeds out and clean them, wax them, no, clean them, valve them, wax them, tune them. Yeah, so there we go. I hope that was interesting. Just nice to get it all looking good. And yeah, see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.